And welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing another boiler retrofit here. And we have something special in store. We have an old hydrotherm here that we're going to be ripping out. They no longer make these or service parts for them. Actually, I think quite a while ago, at least over a decade ago, and probably even longer than that. And it's an old cast iron boiler. These were hardy boilers and actually good for the day, but the homeowner has now decided it is time to upgrade and go to something from the 21st century. So that's going to be the plan. And then we're also going to remove this hot water tank as well here. It was recently installed about 3 years ago, but we're going to clean up everything you see here. And we're going to make it look a little bit nicer and a little bit more simple. But before we do that, I just want to go over this. I have huge props to the original installer of this because they did it the true way. They did it reverse return. First one fed, last one to return. The living room here, which is the last one here, I believe on the supply, well, it's the first one to return on the return side. And you can see here, whoever did these nice and beautiful little tags here cared a lot. It could have been the homeowner after the fact or even the contractor when they originally did the boiler. Wiring obviously is something a bit to be desired, but we're obviously going to clean that up and make that look a little bit nicer than currently what it is now. We have an old, well, I should say old, fairly newer expansion tank, but an older setup. We're going to get rid of that and put the proper mounting arm and drain for that system there. We're going to rip off everything from the wall. It's a concrete wall. We're probably going to build a sub wall, put plywood up here. So we have a nice solid backing for all our anchors. Now we have something special here too. We have a so-called fifth zone, and this is what's called a freewheeling hearth, or basically a wild loop that you can manually control. This one right here actually controls a heater that's just outside this room over here, and this one handles another one up top. So what we might do for the client here is get rid of this one, but reconnect this one to the actual living room zone. And we'll probably do some of that up here where we have a lot more open space to do that. We have, strangely enough, we have a stainless steel domestic style pump, usually for potable water on the system, which is fine. It still does its job, but we're going to be changing that out as well. So we're going to have a bit of fun with this one. We have quite a tight space here in this laundry room, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to look quite nice. The final thing we'll have to do is obviously venting, and you can see it actually goes up through here and then comes around out here, which aesthetically is not the greatest, but what we're probably going to have to do is remove this and then bring our vent up through the roof there. So that's probably the best path, especially in this house. Here's our wild loop here, which we're going to abandon, and this will be a bit of a project, but an enjoyable one. So guys, we will see you in a week or two. And welcome back, guys. We are officially done this project. It's been a little bit of fun as usual, and obviously stress for time because we're doing this in the middle of the winter, but nonetheless, we have finished it. And let's just briefly go over some of the things that we did with this job. So let's start at the beginning. Obviously, we've mounted the boiler here on this particular wall just to give us some extra space. The venting now goes out through here and then up through the existing chimney. And then we just terminated it up there. Put a T for the combustion air, just to avoid any water coming down. And then our exhaust is Gray 636, designed for those high temperatures with this boiler running at 180 degrees. And we have baseboard rad heat. That's obviously what we need. And the nice thing about this NFC-175 Combi unit, you can tell right here, we have our pressure, which has gone up just a little bit here. We're running a little bit high, just because we've been trying to get some of the air out. But domestic hot water, we have it set at 140, and then when there's a call for central heat, we go up to 180. But as you can see right here on the control board, we have a few calls for a few zones, but that's about it. And then in here, here's our controller, and we have all our wiring as well, low voltage wiring. We use Panduit here, just a Panduit, to run our wires here, and then we use our terminal blocks just to give it a somewhat nice clean look, so that if you ever have to replace one of these zones or take one of these off, you can do that. And we kept the old tags from the old system right here: living room, freewheeling hearth, and master bedroom, and so on. And we actually labeled the zones, so they also are labeled conjunction here. Now zone 4 and 5 just shut off, and looks like zone 1 is actually up to temperature now too. These two are actually tied together on one thermostat, and the rest handle the basement and the master bedroom. Down here you can see we have put pressure gauges on the main circulator pump here for the system, just to see our delta P, and we know, hey, the pump's working or it's circulating correctly. We then of course have our flush valves, which is so nice to shut these off here, open this up, run hot water from our boiler into our supply. Water can't go that way, it can only go this way, and then comes back to our returns, exits out right into the sink, and you can flush the air so quickly out of the system. And now it's actually quite quiet because we have our hydraulic separator down here, and I've put the pressure gauges in here and another redundant pressure gauge. I like to see the temperatures, what they're returning at, what they're coming out at. But also in here, they have a little baffle here where it helps get rid of a lot of the air, brings it up to the air scoop, and the system is extremely quiet. Over here, we have our MagnaClean filter to get rid of any of iron filings or metal buildup in the system and doesn't plug the boiler. Surprisingly, this system was actually quite clean when we started cleaning it out. One new exception here, we have our acid neutralizer condensate pump here, just because there is a floor drain, but it's kind of in the center of the room in a high traffic area where we have our laundry, so we decided to pump it up over to the nearest stack, and that's what we've done with that. We've cleaned everything up underneath there, put a nice switch there, tied in to our boiler switch up here, which kills power to everything. While we're up here, we put our gas line down here, in and over. Usually we put it on the right side, but because of this configuration of this room, it just worked out so much better. We have our expansion tank here with our valve that has a locked handle, but we can also drain the system down. We have our, once again, another redundant pressure gauge plus an auto vent. Since this is a high point of the system, we want to make sure we get rid of all that air. Isolation valve for this, another pressure gauge just to see what our inlet pressure is coming in, and then this goes over, all the way over, and ties into the return side of the hydraulic separator and the return side of this primary pump up here, which is inside the boiler. And then what we've done here is we color coded everything, all the valves. So we have the two supplies and the two returns, this for domestic and this for central heating. Even color coded the valves a bit just to give it a little bit more of a classier look. And also it's really easy then to descale and flush the system. We put dielectric unions on our relief valves. If we need to get at them, you have access here to get at them, but they're also out of the way so nobody hits them or bumps them, and just works extremely well for this setup. Over here, we put all our pamphlets and literature here. I like having multiple racks because you do get a lot of stuff and a lot of literature. Outdoor sensor here, we did not put it in this particular install, but it is there down the road if need be. Once again, color coded all the valves here, just spray painted it. Took seconds to do. We also built a false wall here so we could hide all our wires behind here, or in this case, didn't even have to. We just run it there, but it's nice, clean, and neat. So one little nice addition we gave to these particular clients is this, and it's called the Canuck bat signal. And the reason why is, if there's ever any problems and you need help, well, you turn this switch on, and voila. And this switch in particular just gives this room a little bit of pop, a little bit of class. And the nice thing about it is what it is, it's magnets. And you can see the light there. We just glued some magnets on here. And then if you ever need to get at this, you can actually, you can see what we did there, ceiling flanges and magnets, and then the light just comes off. You can replace it or whichever you want to do. But ultimately it's just a little bit more convenient and easier, and just a bit of touch of class for this system, for these people, which really do appreciate this setup. And their house is nice and toasty warm right now going into the Christmas season. So guys, if you have any questions, like, comment, subscribe. Try to answer as many as you want. But once again, thanks for joining the channel and enjoying the work. And there's more to come, and the best is yet to come. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.